Hello, I'd like to introduce you to my e-bike, which is from a company called B2G. This is the blue XTR Special 3.1, which is one of their upper range models. This particular variant is the high-speed version. It has a 2,800 watt rear hub, powered by a 48 volt battery. I'll move in a little bit closer so we can take a look at some of the features. So there is the hub in question, very substantial, very quick, and got quite a lot of torque as well, 100 Newton meters of torque available. So it's able to shift quite substantial weights. I sometimes run it with panniers fitted to the rear rack so that I can do my weekly shopping, and I do get a full load in, and it pulls myself. I'm not exactly a small chap either, quite easily. In fact, it would go well above some of the speed limits. So the battery is housed in this little bag here. B2G specifically make this bag. In my case, it sits on the rack quite nicely. It's quite concealed, quite tucked away. I like the idea of it just being behind me there in this little bag. It would benefit from maybe having a slightly higher capacity if you were doing really long journeys. But again, it's like your car, of course. If you put your foot down, the more that you use your fuel, or in this case the electrical power in the battery. So it's quite happy to go some distance if you don't of course exploit those many amps and many watts rather it's got. So the group set on it is a Shimano Dior at the rear here, a single chain set on the front there, and that is the motor controller sitting in its own little housing there. It has a front shock as well, which of course I find helpful. If I was, a little bit more flush, and this is not a cheap e-bike by any means, then I would probably next bike on would consider rear suspension, just for the ultimate in luxury. Now I had a previous mountain bike to this, a Grace MX2 Urban, which is on one of my videos. This is a step up. That was a high-speed version as well, capable of 28 miles per hour. This is more in the 35 to early 40s range in terms of speed. And like I say, it does shift you along quite noticeably. It's probably the equivalent of a 100cc small motorbike, I suppose, in a lot of respects. It does have a very nice Brooks seat, which it comes with, and I'm very pleased with that. Very comfortable once it gets seated in. Same with Brooks grips on the handlebars here, and there is the throttle. We also have the shifters, of course, in the usual place here. Has Shimano brakes on it, 180mm discs on the front and the rear, so it has quite sufficient stopping power. This little gauge here, that's given us a readout of the voltage available, so it's a bit hard to see in this light, but it's saying 53.8 volts. Now you've got to bear in mind that when you have a 48 volt motor and it's fully topped up, they always give over more voltage than basically what they're stated at. So I may experiment with a 52 volt, and that would step up the speed, but I would have to check whether the controller is capable of that. Aftermarket extras are the mudguards that I fitted on. Was a bit dubious about having mudguards. I don't really like the look of them, admittedly, but I've got used to these, and I'm glad I got them now, really, because you want to get out more on an e-bike, and often as not the weather isn't always with you. So I would definitely recommend having mudguards, that's for sure. Okay, we'll take it for a little spin. It's already on. To turn it on, there's just a little switch in the battery in here. Same thing again, and a little lead that comes out to connect your charger. So it's as simple as that. Yes, fitted some lights as well up on it, so we're just seeing the cat eye in the rear, and I've got a really nice exposure light for the front as well. Yeah, because like I say, when you've got one of these, they're often as not much more capable of replacing your car for quite a lot of tasks and so forth, and you're not worried about hills and so forth. They're irrelevant. If anything, they're fun, yeah, nowadays. So we'll pop on and I will get on it. I should indicate as well that there are 3 levels to assistance, as it were. We're in number 1 at the moment, number 2 and number 3. Now generally I only ever run it in 1 and 2. Number 3, it really does hurtle along, and you would not want it generally. So I'm pedalling conventionally, nothing here at the moment, no resistance by the way as well, unlike mid-drive motors. Yeah, this is a heavy bike of course, but yeah, absolutely no resistance, no noise or nothing. That's the beauty of a hub motor anyway. If I just tweak the throttle, probably just hear it kick in there, and we'll head on down. In fact, it's quite hard to control with just a single hand. It's got so much power in number 2 that it could take off from me, so I'll just ease her up gently. Yeah, you can probably see that there's so much power that I'm wobbling about here. This is a private track that we're on anyway. So yeah, no noise as well, literally no noise. And this is one thing that I did find on the Grace MX2, my previous e-bike, that there was always a noise coming from its assistance, which I didn't mind too much, but I much prefer the quieter hub motor, or rather the noise it makes when it does come on, and that's barely noticeable. So we've arrived at our destination. I'll just back off once again. It does come with a stand, by the way, yeah. Which is very, very useful. Yeah, I would definitely recommend having a stand on a bike of this level, that's for sure. So that's the B2G back to green blue extra special, XTR special rather, 3.0. Was it 3.1? I can't quite remember, but if you go to their website you'll spot it on it. It is in German, but of course good old Google will translate for you. Hope you enjoy the little look around, and if you're up for a bike of a little more capability and reasonable cost, I should mention the cost as well. This was about just over 3,000 UK pounds at the time, and it's now about I would imagine we're coming up just over a year old, so yeah, it's certainly done some mileage. Yeah, no problems whatsoever. The only issue that I did have was the actual battery connector came a little bit loose and was given a false voltage region, but I put a new connector on and that was it really. Back to square one, all working fine. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the look around. Thanks, bye bye.